At 7 a.m. this morning, actually a text, I hear my phone go, beep, and it was Tim. And he said, I'm really worried about our presentation. I'm worried about catching my flight home tonight. He said, I got food poisoning. He'd been up since 3 in the morning. So I jumped in the shower and ran down to CVS and got him some Pedialyte and this anti-nausea medicine. And he is sick as a dog. And he feels horrible. He keeps telling me he's so sorry he's doing this to me. And I said, you're not doing this to me. You know, you got sick. I chose the restaurant. I should have told him not to order the fried shrimp. That's where I went wrong. So I will be doing this presentation solo. And today I'm going to talk about how Tufts and my firm working together, how we have used blogs and social media, because the blogs never stand on their own. They're always supported by Facebook and Twitter and so on. But how we've used blogs to really change the way we relate to our target audience. And our primary target audience is women. And we want a deeper level of engagement. They have Floating Hospital for Children as their hospital. And we market their affiliations with community hospitals. And we were in one of these meetings with people at Lowell General Hospital and the people from Floating Hospital for Children. And we talked all about what they wanted in their new ad campaign and the different elements. You know, there were going to be digital elements and print and radio, all the usual stuff you would imagine. And Michelle Davis, who is the VP of Marketing at Lowell General, said at the very end of the meeting, just as an aside, she said, Dan, I would love it if you guys could come up with something that really captures the attention of that really busy mom. You know, she's going in a million different directions all at one time. And how do we get her to stop and slow down and pay attention to what we're talking about? And so I left that meeting thinking about that. And I had been a fan and a follower of these mommy blogs that were popping up all over the country at the time. And I didn't know of a single hospital in the country who was doing this, but I thought, you know, there's no reason a hospital couldn't sponsor a mommy blog. I had to figure out how to do it and how do you recruit the bloggers from the community and so on. But there's no reason you couldn't do a mommy blog, have it sponsored by these two hospitals, and have that be a vehicle for extending the brand's relationship with these people and sharing good health content. But mostly creating this space where people can come and share information and relate with one another. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. So my philosophy today is that we have to stop doing what we've always been doing, which is pushing content at people, whether it's men or women for that matter. But stop just this one-way dump of content and work on true two-way communication, a true relationship. Instead of marketing at them, market with them. It's far more effective. And I think the way to do that is by creating spaces. I think our job as marketers, whether you work in public relations, advertising, whatever, our job should fundamentally change, and it should have changed over the last 5 years. It is no longer acceptable, let me put it that way, to just be pushers of information. You know, ad campaigns, pushing information out, sending out press releases, whatever it is we do, it's not acceptable. I think a major part of our role today should be to create spaces, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, whether it's through blogs, whether it's online communities. Create spaces and environments where patients, and by the way, you can do this with physicians too, but where patients can come and share their stories with each other. They can share their stories with us. We can share good health information with them in that safe place. And they become much stronger advocates of our brand. It's a great way to win customers and win support. So that's what I think it is about. The work has to feel authentic. It's got to provide value. So in the mommy blogs, and we've created other blogs, not just mommy blogs. We have women's blogs. You have to provide something that enriches their life. And if you read the blogs that we have, and that Tufts has produced with its various community hospital partners, you'll see there's great value in the communication that takes place in those. It's phenomenal to me. I am blown away every time I read these blogs at the kind of information these women are sharing with each other. It is phenomenal. Blogs are bigger than most people know. it's wild to sit there and talk. Do any of you blog just personally, have a personal blog? Yeah, there's always a few bloggers in the room. It is a really big movement with women in particular. Here it says moms are 38% more likely to become a fan or follow a brand online, and those who blog are more than twice as likely to follow brands and celebrities compared to the online average. And lots of moms blog. In terms of the most prevalent online social media platforms, Facebook is number 1 for moms. Blogger is number 2. Blogger. It's a blogging platform. That's amazing. Now, what's the fastest growing? Pinterest, right? Pinterest is unbelievable. When I first, in my job, I just have to try these things. I hear, oh, Pinterest is hot. I have to try it because I need to know about it so I can advise my clients on it. Well, I signed up for Pinterest and set up a bunch of pin boards and started pinning. And mine's about healthcare marketing, And when I do a blog post on my blog, I always have an image in it, almost always. And then I pin it to one of my pin boards so that people can then come back to my blog from that image. Well, Pinterest over the last year has become the second largest driver of traffic to my healthcare marketing blog. It's not about food, it's not cooking, it's healthcare marketing. And yet Pinterest is still driving traffic to it. Pinterest is phenomenal. So it's growing like crazy. It hasn't caught up with Facebook and Blogger yet in terms of overall numbers, but it's very big. So I want you to meet these bloggers and really hear from them rather than me, because I'm not a woman. I am a blogger, so I'm halfway there. But I want you to meet them. This is a group, this video, believe me, this is really rough shot with my little flip camera. This is a group of bloggers in Brockton, Massachusetts. They blog for what's called the Signature Moms blog. And it's the most successful mommy blog that I know of that a hospital's doing. They have huge traffic numbers, huge number of followers. I'll show you some of the data in a bit. But here, just meet these bloggers and listen to why they do what they do.
I really love being involved on the internet. It's so funny, I've met so many mom friends on the internet. My husband thinks it's kind of creepy. But I really have. I don't think that I would be like half the mom I was if I didn't have the internet. So to be a part of that and continuing to put myself out there and get to know other moms is really exciting.
I've met so many fantastic people through blogging that I can never go back. I talk to a lot of people on a daily basis, on Twitter, Facebook, through on my blog, but I want to meet people in the community, and I think it's really important to meet local moms who get it.
I haven't ever done blogging before, but I have been part of an online community that started when I was going through some infertility issues, is what started, and it's kind of funny because now all of our kids are like 8, and we're still all connected through that.
Yeah.
And so that's been really interesting. We've seen each other through a lot of different things. I think I also am a working mom, so I think that having older kids and trying to balance being at board meetings and picking somebody up from soccer practice and those kind of things are challenging.
Sure.
But I think it's important for moms to feel that there's other people out there to relate to.
And I've always found a sort of sense of community through the internet and finding people who are in similar situations who can offer not only support but advice.
I wholeheartedly believe in the power of mom and think that the community that we can create and the resources that we have available to us will be really awesome.
So you hear from them why they value this ability to form community online. And these are amazing community builders, these women. It's just, we'll bring them together when we have contests to recruit them. And once we've recruited the bloggers and we decide who are the finalists that we're going to actually use as bloggers, we bring them together for a brunch or a luncheon, and so they can all meet each other, and we educate them about what their role is going to be and how to do it. And I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But it's amazing how quickly they start to become friends and support each other, and you can see them talking on Facebook back and forth to each other. They comment on each other's blog posts. It's natural for them to do this. All we do is create the space to let them do it. And I'll tell you all about how it works as we go along today. So my vision for this building space is I use the analogy of a hive. And you all know what a beehive looks like. The bees come to the hive and they're all buzzing around it, and if you go over there you get stung. But there's all this interest and stuff happening around the hive. And that's what we need to do with these blogs and communities we create. I just think that is the future of healthcare marketing. I think in 5 years, in fact, I don't think you'll see a lot of hospitals doing service line marketing, doing a cardiovascular campaign or a cancer campaign or orthopedics campaign. I think what you'll see, and part of this is because we're changing the way hospitals and doctors will get paid. You know, we're going to be paid to keep populations healthy, not for each transaction. Right now we're in a very transactional business. Well, when we're paid to keep a population healthy, I think we're going to start using online communities to communicate health and wellness information and to get people involved in their own health and wellness and to keep them out of the hospital, because that's the way we're going to make money. But I believe in this notion of the hive, where we bring people to these communities, we bring them to Facebook, we bring them to the blog, whatever it is, and let them share their passion for whatever it is they're talking about. Whether they're cancer patients and they're talking to other cancer patients, and there are cancer online communities all over the place where cancer patients are sharing all kinds of interesting information and new treatments and so on. So let them share their passion and their common interest. And then we feed them information about our organization, and that's relevant to what they're talking about, and it's relevant to their interest. And then the best part of this is they leave the hive, and they go and tell your story for you, and they become the advocates for your brand, because that is far more valuable. Having someone on a Facebook page or Facebook community talking about your brand and talking about your doctors and talking about the services you provide is far more valuable than anything I can create in a brochure or TV commercial or whatever. Let them talk about it. And when you need them, you can activate that audience and put them to work for your brand. Is this making sense so far? Have I lost you in an after-lunch coma or anything? No? Believe me, if Tim were here, it would be much better. No. It would be equally wonderful. One of the things I think people don't understand about social media, and to me it seems so obvious, but really people aren't there yet. These are not mass media vehicles. So when you think of Facebook, or you think of Twitter, don't think about talking to a universe. Think about how you can segment it and segment your audience. Because I think these are tools, and I believe firmly these are tools for speaking to communities of shared interest. And those by nature are narrower, not broad. So for instance, I'll just give you an example. If you want to talk to cancer patients and you really want to get cancer patients involved at your hospital, do you think your hospital Facebook page, your main Facebook page, is the place for them to come and talk? No. Bariatrics patients are the same way, right? You all know this. Bariatrics patients, they don't want to share that stuff on your Facebook page. But if you have a private just bariatrics community or just cancer community, that's where the sharing is going to take place. And what have you done? You've created a safe place for them to come and share that information and learn from each other. That's a real value when you talk about providing value to these audiences and these individuals. So think about segmenting. And you know, who wants to tell me the horrible thing about having to segment audiences with Facebook? What's the bad thing about that? You end up with bunches of Facebook pages, right? And then somebody has to administer those and make sure there's good content there and you keep up with them. But I'll tell you, it's worth doing if it makes sense. If you can see an audience where you know they have a special interest and it's shared, then I say create a Facebook page for them. Don't try to bring them onto your corporate or home Facebook page. It just doesn't make sense. And it's a missed opportunity for you. And that's why you see so many crappy, pardon my language, but crappy hospital Facebook pages. The typical hospital Facebook page, and I look at dozens of them every week, it's post after post after post from the hospital. We're having this event, we're having this event, we're doing this screening. And people click and like it because that takes no effort. That's no sign of engagement whatsoever. They click and like it because I do it. I'll go through my Facebook feed and go like, you're right down the line. And then I'm done. I feel like I've supported my friends out there on Facebook. But, I mean, do you guys do that too? Somebody? I know Jessica does it. But so don't be fooled by the likes. If they're commenting and they're talking and you're provoking conversation by asking questions, that's starting to become a community. But if all you're doing is spewing content, you're just doing old-fashioned one-way advertising, and you're not really communicating at all. So think about these vehicles in terms of, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. We need to accommodate the different interests. That's why we do mommy blogs, or dad blogs, or women blogs. One of my favorite blogs that we do is a women's blog that has multiple generations of women who write for it. And it appeals to an interesting audience because of that. So the first blog I'm going to tell you about is the Merrimack Valley Moms blog, which is in Lowell, Massachusetts. And it's an affiliation between Lowell General Hospital and Tufts Medical Center over pediatric services. And our goal was to differentiate our affiliation and engage those moms. This is one where Michelle said to me, we need a way to engage those busy moms. So we recruited bloggers via a Facebook contest. And I'll give you a tip. Don't call it a Facebook contest. Call it a blogger contest. And don't brand it as a Facebook contest, because Facebook has very specific rules about contests, and you have to use their vendors to do it, and it becomes more expensive and more of a hassle. But if you call it a blog contest, you just happen to post information about it on Facebook, all's good. So that's one piece of advice. I'll talk about how it impacted us on Twitter and Facebook, because these efforts impact your entire social media program and make everything richer. Honestly, they enrich your social media presence. And what we learned, I'll share with you what we learned and what we do differently. We've had to go back and recruit new bloggers over time, so I'll share all of that. This is a picture of what the blog looks like, a screenshot, and you can see we put our logos here for the two institutions. Beyond that, we're pretty hands-off. Once a month, we might post a medical post, some information from one of the physicians, pediatric specialists at Floating Hospital for Children. But this is a blog that if you're reading it, it's all about these women. It is not all about the hospitals. Now you can click on, there's a tab for Lowell General Hospital and Floating Hospital for Children, so you can click there and learn more. You can click on their logos and click through to them, and I have data on how many people actually do click through to get information. So we haven't totally ignored the fact that we would like these people coming to our website. But our primary goal is to be really hands-off and be just seen as the people who facilitate this communication happening, because we think there's real value in that. We know there is. So in the recruitment, when we started out, we were naive. We'd never done this before. So we recruited 4 bloggers. Huge mistake. We should have recruited 12. It's a lot of work for 4 bloggers. But we recruited 4. We offer them a prize, a stipend of $250, and that's it. They are never paid again. Nothing. It's just a prize, and they blog for free from then on. They give us a blog post, 2 or 3 times a month, but they are not paid. The instructions were so what we did was we set up the blog before the bloggers were even paid, and we wrote out all the rules of the contest on the blog. Then we went on Facebook and said, hey, check out our blog promotion, go to this URL, and you can learn about the blog promotion. And they would learn the rules. And basically what they had to do was they could either email us a narrative written out about why they thought they'd make a great blogger, they could put it on our Facebook wall, or they could make a video, which very few people opt to do because it's hard. It involves technology, and it's uncomfortable. I hate videotaping myself, so some people took that option, but not most. And then we also encourage them to tell your friends to support you, right? So when a mom would come on our Facebook page and post her little note of interest saying, hey, I think I'd make a great mommy blogger, and here's why, we would thank her. And then we would say, oh, be sure to tell your friends, because we're really going to measure support and what kind of support you get. So all of a sudden, she'd have 15 of her friends on our wall, on our Facebook wall, saying, I love Shannon, she's the best. And what happened, our Facebook pages, when we've done this for every hospital we've done this for now, the Facebook page takes on a life of its own. There's this huge conversation taking place, and all these people from the community talking to each other, and we're not doing anything other than every once in a while saying, hey, tell your friends, But really, that's it. I love it, because I always wanted to be like Mayo Clinic, in that you go on Mayo's Facebook page, and like 1 out of every 50 posts on that wall is from Mayo. The rest is patients and families and people talking. That's what Facebook should be like. And then at the end, we extended the campaign another 3 weeks or so, just to give people more chance to register. And boy, the moms who had already written on the wall were like panicking. They're like, oh, when am I going to know if I won? And they really got into it. It was so cool. There was lots of engagement during the contest. The supporters were coming on and voicing their support. It was like a political campaign. It's just wild. But interestingly, the different women who were competing against each other, they were exchanging recipes and stuff on our Facebook page. It didn't feel competitive. Their friends who came on and supported them, it felt competitive from that perspective. But the moms who wanted to be bloggers, they started building community before they ever met. It was amazing. So the announcement of the winners led to great press coverage, and I'll share that with you. We leveraged everything we can leverage. You know, we promoted the contest with the media, then we promoted the winners with the media. And what's really key to this, and you have to remember this, each blogger that we pick, you know, so they've signed up on our Facebook page. We then check them out, right? We friend them and check them out, so we know who has the most followers. So one of our criteria that we're measuring is who's going to bring us the biggest audience. I mean, you just have to be realistic, because they're all wonderful. I mean, they all have amazing stories to tell. The other thing we didn't want, we tried to avoid, was any moms who have chronically ill children who are being treated at an opposing hospital. We didn't want to get into that. Because one of our rules, actually, when we talk to the mommy bloggers, once they're recruited, is you're not a health blogger. You're a mommy blogger. You know, you're blogging about your life. And if you take your child to a pediatrician, you can write about that, you know, if something interesting happens. But we don't want you blogging about our hospital. You are not being hired or brought on, because you're not being hired, but you're not being brought on to promote our hospital. If by chance there's something good you want to say about it, great. But that is not your job here. So one of the things we did, people are shy, and people aren't going to start writing on your wall immediately. It's about creating an environment where people feel comfortable doing it. So until they see someone else do it, they don't want to do it. No one wants to be the first one to do it, and they're not sure they're doing it right. You know how that is. I mean, we're all that way to some extent. So we seeded the contest and had a few friends go on and post entries early on. And once they saw that happening, then they jumped in and started following suit. But the other thing we did was we went to other Facebook pages in the community. Merrimack Valley Diapers. Well, how better can you get for this target audience? And we said, hey, would you mind posting about our contest on your Facebook page? And would you mind us going on and updating it periodically? And they said, no, not at all. And they said, you can put flyers in our store too. So we did that as well. But we used community blogs like this one and the You Know You're From Lowell, Massachusetts When, to spread the word on other Facebook pages. So we picked the bloggers. And that was a hard process. We had a list of 16 or however many, and we went through and looked at their Facebook following, looked at whether they were on Twitter. One thing that was amazing was at least half of the women who tried out for the part had blogging experience. And for us that was cool, because we could go look at their blog and see what the tone was. We wanted a positive tone. We don't, because so many people use blogs as a way to complain. And this is not what we're about. We're about positivity. And some parts of life are not, are downers. There are down moments. And we've had some really depressing stuff on our blog, and we've allowed it to go because we thought, things about death. One woman wrote about, this is the only blog post I ever thought about not allowing. A woman wrote about her best friend who died a week after giving birth. And, she left this baby and her husband. And I read the blog post, and she was chronically ill and went through her pregnancy, and the baby survived, which is what the mother had hoped. So I read the post, and it was agonizing. And I debated it, and I called the client. I called Tim and said, Tim, here's the deal. And he said, what do you think? And I said, I think we got to be genuine and authentic and run it. Not everything's going to be a positive story. And it was our most read blog post of that year. It got a ton of comments. It was a tearjerker. But, so not every story is going to be positive, but we don't want people who are just constant complainers. So once we had selected them, we do the Mommy Blogger Brunch where we bring them in and really start to build that formal community. Put them all around a table. We teach them how to be a community. We tell them outright, nobody's going to read this blog at first. You know, you have no following at first. The only following you have is your following on Facebook right now or on Twitter right now. So the only way you're going to build a following is by communicating to the people who follow you to come read your blog post. And then you other moms, like if Sue is writing a blog post and it's published that day, you other moms need to be her community at that time. And you need to go on and comment on that. Because just like they're shy about going on your Facebook wall and writing their entry, the readers of the blog are going to be shy about coming on and actually commenting. You know, the commenting is putting yourself out there, and people aren't used to doing that. So if the mothers comment on each other's blog posts, it again creates this safe environment where they say, oh, it's all right to come on and talk to one another. And then there's this big conversation taking place online, and it's wonderful. So we teach them how to use Twitter, because most of them don't know how to use Twitter. So we teach them how to use Twitter to promote their blog posts. And of course, we use Twitter to promote their blog posts. We teach them the rules of engagement, which is being positive. Try to meet your deadline when you have a blog post due to us, and they're horrible about that. And there's one person in my office who is always nagging the moms to get their blog posts written. And then we teach them how to promote their blog posts. One of the things we do when we have them at that first meeting together is videotape them. And you've seen some of the videos we created at those events. And we use those videotapes as their first blog post. So we post that on the blog, so meet Sue, and here's her video. And it's a really nice human way to meet them before they start writing their blog posts.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Rashonda Pratt, and I'm the mother of 3, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. I've also been married 6 years. I'm also a mompreneur, they call us. I run 2 of my own businesses, and I'm also a leader in my church. I do a lot of things. And so I started a blog called Supermodel. It's actually a play off the word supermodel. I started the blog because one of my 25-year-old single friends always makes fun of my life in a positive, nice way. But she always calls me. She's like, "Hey, Ro, what are you doing?" I said, "Oh, girl, I'm living the glamorous life." My 1-year-old just spit up on me. The 3-year-old's having a temper tantrum, and I can't even find the 5-year-old. But having a glamorous life. So I decided to start this blog because of everything that was going on in my life. I needed my own personal outlet. And I remembered very long ago, my older sister gave me a diary when I was younger. And I remember how much that diary was so therapeutic for me. I come from a family who's from the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago. And so in our family, we're very loud and we talk a lot. And so in those years of growing up, I didn't really have an outlet. So my diary was my outlet. And so I started blogging. Found out about the blog contest through Lexington Medical, and I just started my blog I think a week before it, and I just said, well, you know what, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. Maybe someone might find all of my organized chaos very interesting, and I was so surprised to find out that someone's actually reading this stuff. This is great. Someone finds humor and comfort in everything that's going on in my life. But I started, I have a heart and a passion for women finding out what they're called to do, what's their God-given gift, what are they supposed to bless not only their family but the world with. And so if Supermodel, navigating through the runway of life can help people do that, then I feel like that my heart's calling. Though I'm, breaking down in my closet crying because my kids are all over the place and business is here and there's so many hats that I wear during the day. But to get a response from somebody that said that, you know what, though you have some funny stuff going on in your life, the end of your blog really blessed me, then I feel like my life's work has been accomplished. So I'm very, very excited to be a part of this.
See, we don't go to a lot of expense. It's me standing there with the flip camera, just hanging out, interviewing her. I edit it on my Mac, on my laptop. It's not a big deal. And we keep that on the blog forever.
A quick question that popped in my mind. You chose these 4. How did you gracefully exit with these other people that wanted to be picked so they didn't do damage to you?
That's a hard thing. It really is. delicate, and we find that they aren't vindictive, you know, when they're not selected, thank goodness. But we did invite them to be guest bloggers.
Yes.
So we did say, even though, you know, we had such a great, you know, the usual stuff you get when you're turned down, you know, when you apply to speak at a conference, oh, you were wonderful, well, we got so many people, you know, we're not able to accept everybody, but we would love you to be a guest blogger. So that's the way we handle it. We felt that was a softer way to deal with it. So the rules were keep it positive, write about your life experience, you know, don't go on and trash a restaurant because you had a bad meal there. Write about the good restaurant that you went to and you loved. Avoid the negatives. Generally avoid healthcare as a topic, and don't try to be an expert. What you are an expert on is your life. You have a question?
Yeah, I'm curious how the bloggers reacted and the audience reacted to avoiding healthcare as a topic, because that's a big part of life.
Yeah. And they do. The main thing we were trying to do is, because this is a hospital-sponsored blog, we didn't want them thinking that that is the topic. So we didn't want them coming in thinking they have to write about healthcare. They all write about trips to the pediatrician and sick kids and their husband having knee surgery. We get all those. There's adenoids. One of our award-winning blog posts a year ago was about adenoids, for example. So, I mean, it's amazing. They do write on health topics. We just tell them, don't make that the focus of what you do. Write about your life. If it's going to the movies, changing diapers, dealing with diaper rash, whatever it might be. The mechanics of the blog, we do our blogs on WordPress because it's so easy. We just like that. And we like the independence of not having the blog on the hospital website. We think it creates a more inviting environment for the moms.